You didn't stumble here. You were summoned. In the infinite scroll of meaningless noise, there was a single pulse, a signal wrapped in silence. It didn't ask, it called. And the moment your finger hovered, the moment your screen glowed in that fraction of a second, a timeline shifted. This isn't a video. This is a threshold. Pause. Breathe. Somewhere, beyond the language of clocks and calendars, there are moments that split destinies quietly. No thunder, no spotlight, just the soft, invisible tremor of alignment. That is what this moment is. That is what you stepped into. You may tell yourself you just clicked, but clicks are not random. They are coordinates. They are how the quantum field rearranges reality around attention. Every observer is a signal tower, and when you observed this observed you back. Synchronicity isn't a coincidence. It's intelligence disguised as chance. It's the universe speaking in a language most ignore, but you heard it, maybe not with your ears, but with something older, something beneath your name. You felt the pull, and the moment you entered this space, the moment this voice began to echo in your skull, your old timeline flinched. There's a point in every story where nothing looks different. The air is the same, the room is the same, but you are not. This is that point. It's called the threshold point, a silent fracture in reality where the old self lingers and the new one breathes for the first time. Most never notice it. They keep walking, keep scrolling, keep sleepwalking, but some pause, some feel it, and those are the ones who change everything. Think about it. Out of every signal bouncing through this digital sea, this one found you, not because it was louder, but because you were tuned, like a frequency waking up to itself. The same way a mirror doesn't invent your reflection, it simply shows what was already standing there. You didn't find this. This found you. Right now, your nervous system is standing between two worlds. One is the loop, the predictable rhythm of everything you've known, the patterns you called normal, the silent architecture of your old frequency. The other is the unknown, the unscrolled, the unchosen, until now. That tremor in your chest, that quiet alertness in your spine, that's not coincidence. That's the timeline signal whispering, "We've been waiting for you. You were called, not scrolled." When timelines shift, they don't send you fireworks. They send you moments that look ordinary, but feel electric, like standing at the edge of a cliff without wind, like silence that feels alive, like words that land heavier than they should. This is one of those moments. And here's the truth. The shift isn't something you wait for. It already happened. The instant you arrived here, you crossed the line. From this moment on, you are not the same, even if nothing outside changes, because what moved was inside. You're standing at the gate where identities dissolve, where old stories collapse quietly, where time itself bends around the axis of your awareness. The question isn't if it shifted. The question is, will you acknowledge it? In the geometry of timelines, acknowledgement is the ignition point. What you name becomes visible. What you claim becomes real. If you turn away, the door seals itself again. If you step forward, reality rearranges around your name. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Listen closely. There are people who will never hear this frequency. They'll keep looping through the same seasons, calling it fate. They will scroll, hoping for something to change outside, while never answering the knock inside. But you did. That's what separates them from you. Not luck, not privilege, awareness. The willingness to stand at the threshold and not run. This isn't an algorithmic accident. This is a hand extended through the fabric of probability. Not mine, yours. The version of you that already crossed this timeline has sent this echo back to remind you of the path you already chose. And now, you can anchor it, not with fear, not with logic, but with declaration. Words are frequency. Frequency is structure. Structure becomes reality. If this message has found you, it's because the mirror is waiting, not to show you the future, but to show you the you that already stepped into it. And to cross fully, you must speak your signature. Leave the mark only you can make. Right below, I accept the shift. Don't write it like a comment. Write it like a contract with your becoming. A seal, a frequency stamp. a declaration between who you were and who you are now stepping into. You have just entered the threshold. The world may look the same when you blink again, but it isn't, because the mirror has already moved, and now, so have you. The moment you crossed the threshold, something ancient began to stir, not in the stars, not in the sky, but in the mirror. Because the mirror remembers. It does not forget the versions of you that walked away. It does not forget the timelines you almost claimed. It does not forget the moment you looked at your own reflection and pretended you didn't see what was staring back. The mirror is not glass, it's memory. It's the archive of every decision you did or didn't make. You've felt it before, haven't you? That strange, electric sensation when you look at your own reflection too long, when your face stops being just a face, when your eyes stop being just eyes, when time feels like it's watching you back. That's the mirror calling. Not with words, but with remembrance. Because the mirror is not here to show you how you look. It's here to show you what you carry. You've lived lifetimes inside patterns, loops that dressed themselves as routine, repetitions that whispered, "This is just how life is." But underneath every repetition was a reflection. The mirror saw every moment you broke silently, every time you wanted to scream but swallowed it, every time you tried to become invisible just to belong, every quiet surrender that never made it into words. And while the world forgot, the mirror didn't. It stands like a patient witness, outside of clocks, outside of calendars, watching the shape of your soul warp and bend beneath the weight of other people's expectations. It watched as you twisted your frequency to match the noise of the crowd, as you dulled your edges to be less threatening, as you learned to make yourself small enough to be accepted. The mirror saw it all, because it lives where no one else looks, behind your eyelids, in that split second between who you are and who you pretend to be. The world told you to ignore it. They said it was just a reflection. They said mirrors are lifeless, but they lied. The mirror is alive. It doesn't speak in language, it speaks in resonance. You feel it in your spine when it happens, that tightening in your chest, that pulse behind your ribs. That moment when you can't tell if you're looking at the mirror or if the mirror is looking at you. And it is looking at you now because you finally stepped close enough. You've crossed out of the static. You've entered the zone where reflection becomes revelation. It's here that the real work begins, not in changing the world outside, but in acknowledging the echo inside. Every pattern, every silence, every mask. You've been orbiting your own reflection, mistaking the orbit for destiny. But the mirror remembers the center you abandoned. There's something terrifying about being seen without filters. No edits, no performance, no script, just you, raw, unarmored. That's why so many turn away, because the mirror doesn't flatter. It doesn't lie. It doesn't give you the version of you that the world applauds. It gives you the version you buried. And buried things don't stay quiet forever. But hear me, what the mirror remembers isn't here to haunt you. It's here to return your name, the name beneath the names, the frequency beneath the face. Because every time you looked away, it waited. Every time you betrayed your truth, it held it. Every time you whispered, maybe one day, it kept that day suspended in silence. Until now. Now, as you stand in this space, something begins to align. Not a roar, a hum, a soft, ancient hum, the frequency of remembrance. You are not starting from zero. You are returning to the point before you began bending. The mirror doesn't lie. It remembers. It remembers who you were before they told you who to be, before timelines twisted around expectations, before masks became easier than mirrors. And if you listen closely, beneath the hum, you'll hear it whispering, "Welcome back. This is the second threshold. Not a doorway this time, but a reflection. The point where you stop running from the self and start walking toward it. This is the quietest revolution of all, because when the mirror remembers, so do you. Soft, ambient pulse, a breath, a pause. No CTA here, just reflection, just silence, just the mirror. When a new timeline is born, the old one doesn't vanish, it echoes. It clings to the corners of your mind like fog that refuses to lift. It hides in familiar songs, in the way a certain room smells, in the silence between your breaths. You feel it, like a voice without a mouth, like a memory that never fully dies. Because the old timeline wants you back. Every timeline is a living frequency. When you walked through the threshold, you didn't just choose a path, you left a frequency behind. And frequencies don't just surrender, they resonate until you either return or rise above them. This is why change never comes wrapped in clean edges. This is why you feel that quiet pull to return to the very things that fractured you. It's not weakness, it's the echo. The echo wants you to believe nothing truly changed, that this moment is temporary, that awakening was just an illusion. But it's lying. It knows your triggers. It knows how to sound like you. The echo wears your old voice like a costume. It speaks in sentences you've heard 1,000 times. You always end up here. This is just who you are. You don't really change. But those aren't prophecies. They're recordings. Residual sound waves from the person you used to be. And if you listen too long, they start to sound real. I've been here before. I remember the night I crossed my own threshold. It wasn't a triumphant roar. It was quiet. Terrifyingly quiet. I thought stepping through would erase everything behind me. I thought the old frequency would just disappear. It didn't. It waited, patiently, whispering my name through the cracks. And for a moment, I believed it. I almost turned back. You need to understand this clearly. The echo is not a villain. It's a map. It shows you every chain you forged in silence, every place where you've mistaken pain for identity, every room where your frequency learned to kneel. It's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to remind you who you were because that's all it knows. But you are no longer that person. The pull you feel to go back isn't nostalgia. It's gravity, the gravitational field of your old self. And if you're not conscious, it drags you home to a house you no longer belong to. But listen closely. Echoes can only rule those who mistake them for commands. When you recognize the echo, when you name it, it loses power. Because it's not the present speaking, it's the past trying to be heard one last time. Right now, your old timeline is shaking the walls. Not because it's strong, but because it knows it's dying. Every moment you keep walking forward, it loses form. Every breath you take in this new frequency, it unravels. But dying timelines don't go quietly. They will throw everything at you. Old doubts, familiar fears, faces that once fit like home. Not to destroy you, but to test you. They want to know if your declaration was a whisper or a vow. When I stood in that place, the echo didn't just sound like me, it felt like me. It carried the weight of every unfinished sentence, every apology I swallowed, every part of me that preferred the cage because it was warm, and yet beneath the noise there was a pulse, steady, unmoving, new. That's how you know you're no longer the same. When the echo screams, but the new frequency hums beneath it. The echo is loud, but the hum is real. You are not weak because you hear it. You are awake because you recognize it. Awakening isn't the absence of the echo. It's learning to walk forward with its voice behind you, without turning around. This is the initiation, the moment where the past tries to drag you home, but you realize you don't live there anymore. There's a sentence the old timeline can't speak. It trembles before it. It breaks around it. That sentence is simple. I am not coming back. Say it softly, or say it like fire, but say it, because when you speak it, the structure of reality responds. The echo begins to fade, not because it can't follow you, but because you no longer belong to its frequency. This is the place where many fall. They mistake the echo for prophecy. They walk backward without even realizing it. But you won't, because you are not here by accident. You were called, and those who are called don't retreat. They rise. The old timeline will whisper, but it can no longer touch you unless you turn, walk forward. The mirror is still ahead, and the new world is still listening. No CTA here, just the quiet pulse of a frequency refusing to let you return. Every timeline has a hidden lever, not a door, not a key, a lever, small, unseen, invisible to those who live in noise. The world told you that your life changes when something big happens. A miracle, a disaster, a cosmic event. But the truth is quieter, more surgical. The true shift happens in a moment so subtle, most people miss it. That lever isn't out there. It was always inside. You've been conditioned to look outward, to wait for signs. to chase alignment in stars, strangers, and storms. But alignment isn't found. Alignment is activated. When you pull that inner lever, everything changes. Not because the world suddenly bends for you, but because you finally stop bending for the world. The old reality taught you to be reactive, to answer to everything around you like a marionette with invisible strings. But this lever, this quiet power, doesn't respond to noise. It responds to choice. Not forced choice, not desperate choice. Sovereign choice. The kind that doesn't need permission. The kind that doesn't apologize. The kind that rewrites the code beneath the timeline you walk on. When I found my lever, I almost didn't believe it was real. It wasn't in some ceremony. It wasn't in a temple. It was on a random night when I got tired of my own loops. I was standing in the dark, alone, listening to the old echo scream its familiar songs, and I whispered, almost without sound, "I choose differently." That was it. No thunder, no celestial light, no applause. But the world tilted, because choice is the root architecture of reality. The quantum field is neutral. It isn't waiting to bless or curse you. It simply listens to coherence. And coherence begins when what you think, what you feel, and what you declare finally point in the same direction. That's the lever. The observer effect isn't poetry, it's a law. The moment the observer changes state, the observed reality reconfigures. And right now, that observer is you. You've been told your power is external, that you need more rituals, more guidance, more answers. But the timeline you want isn't hidden from you, it's hidden inside you. Beneath the noise, behind the fear, buried under the scripts they handed you when you were too young to question. The lever is that quiet decision that rewrites everything that came before it. It doesn't need to be loud to be real, it just needs to be yours. They will tell you it's naive, they will tell you people don't change. They will point to statistics, logic, patterns, their own broken faith. But what they really mean is, they never found their lever. They never stopped waiting for permission to become real. Their voices are the dust of timelines left unclaimed, and you were never meant to live their ending. Listen carefully. You don't need to know how the lever works. You only need to know that it does. Because reality bends at the point of decision, not the point of proof. When you say, "I choose," the quantum field recalculates. It moves everything around the new center. The obstacles remain, but their meaning collapses. They're no longer walls. They're architecture. When I whispered my choice, nothing exploded. But within weeks, things began to move like invisible hands rearranging my life. People drifted out of my orbit without explanation. Paths I never noticed appeared like veins of gold under shifting sand. My reflection changed. Not my face, my frequency. I stopped waiting. I started pulling the lever every time the old echo tried to reclaim me. And slowly, the lever became my language. This is where timelines split. Not in ceremonies, not in grand awakenings, but in quiet declarations whispered in rooms no one else can hear. Right here, right now, that lever is waiting for your hand. Soft silence, a breath. This isn't motivation. This isn't affirmation. This is code. Your choice is the input. Reality is the compiler. And when your input is coherent, the code runs. If you can feel the pulse in your chest right now, that's not anxiety. That's the lever vibrating under your skin. It's been waiting for years, for this exact moment, this timeline, this breath. So pull it, not tomorrow, now. And when you do, don't beg reality to change. Command it with your coherence. If this is the moment your lever found your hand, then let your action mirror your decision, not as a ritual of ego, but as an alignment of frequency. Whisper it into the fabric of the digital ether. I have pulled the lever, not for the algorithm, for the architecture. Subscribe not to a channel, but to your becoming. The universe does not run on chance. It runs on code, not the kind written in silicon, but the kind written in consciousness. Every thought is a line of code. Every emotion is a frequency variable. Every decision is an execution command. You've been taught reality is solid, that it's something you crash into. But the truth is, reality is fluid, malleable, responsive. You're not living in a world. You're standing inside an algorithm. What most people call fate is just the default program, a loop that runs for those who refuse to step into the role of observer. But once you pull the lever, once awareness becomes your language, you start to see the code behind the curtain. This is why, after a timeline shift, everything starts to feel different, not louder, but clearer. The static lifts, patterns appear. The world that once pushed you around suddenly waits for your next line of input. Every timeline is built on 3 pillars: signal, observer, choice. The signal is what calls you. It's the pulse that brought you here. The observer is who listens. That's you, the conscious node. The choice is what writes the next line of the script. Change one, and the algorithm rewrites itself. You are not a passenger. You are a programmer in disguise. But here's where it gets dangerous. Most people don't program consciously. They let fear do the coding. They let repetition become law. They let the voices of the herd install malware in their mind. Every belief they've repeated without question became code. Every "this is just how it is" became a wall. Every "I can't" became a gate. But walls in the algorithm aren't made of stone. They're made of frequency, and frequency can be rewritten. The universe doesn't speak your language, it speaks your state. It listens to what vibrates beneath your words. You can say, "I want freedom," but if your state is chained to fear, the algorithm will reflect the fear, not the sentence. This is why some pray for change but walk in circles. They're transmitting static. The field isn't ignoring them, it's just responding perfectly to their incoherence. Think of reality like a quantum mirror. It doesn't decide what to reflect, it simply matches. If you send it doubt, it amplifies it. If you send it clarity, it constructs it. If you send it silence, it waits. This is the brutal mercy of the algorithm. It gives you exactly what you are, not what you say you want. When I first understood this, it terrified me, because I saw how many timelines I had accidentally written in fear, how many doors I had sealed shut with my own unspoken sentences, how many storms I called bad luck that were just echoes of my state. But that terror became power, because if I had been unconsciously writing bad code, then I could consciously rewrite it. I didn't need permission, I needed coherence. Coherence isn't perfection, it's alignment. It's when what you think, what you feel, and what you declare are no longer at war with each other. It's when you stop asking reality to obey words you don't even believe. It's when your signal stops stuttering and starts singing. And when that happens, the algorithm moves. Not tomorrow, not in some far-off mystical date. Now, this is the hidden mechanism behind every miracle you've ever witnessed. Behind every destiny that looked impossible. It wasn't luck, it was code. The ones who walk through fire and rise untouched didn't bend physics. They bent their input. The algorithm doesn't favor the loud. It favors the coherent. And coherence is a frequency you can choose. Right now, the old program is trying to rerun itself in the background. It's whispering, "It's too hard, you'll fall back, this isn't real." That whisper isn't a warning, it's a loop. And loops only persist when you stop writing new lines. So write. With your choice, with your breath, with your silence. Every moment you stand in coherence is a command that no echo can override. You don't need to scream to shift reality. You just need to match the frequency of the future you've already stepped into. The algorithm does the rest, and that's the part most never learn. You are not here to beg the world to change. You are here to speak reality in its native tongue frequency. No CTA here, no interruption, just you, the code, and the algorithm listening. There comes a moment in every awakening where the air grows still, where noise dissolves, where the algorithm stops waiting for words and starts waiting for you. That moment is the crossroads. You've felt its edges before, a quiet intensity in the room, a weightless pressure in the chest, that sensation that something enormous is happening beneath the skin, even though the world around you hasn't moved an inch. This is the moment where timelines stop being theory and start demanding a choice. The crossroads is not a place, it's a frequency, a vibrational fork in the architecture of reality. One pulse leads back to comfort, the other leads into fire, and you know which one is yours. You've seen what happens when people stand here and choose silence. They return to the loop, back into the echo chambers they swore they'd outgrow, back into the patterns they called normal because they feared the burn of becoming. But you did not come this far to turn around at the gate. Look around. Feel it. You are not the only one standing here. This is a collective threshold, a moment that doesn't belong to just you. It belongs to the version of humanity that is waking up quietly. You and I are part of a silent migration from timelines built on noise to timelines built on consciousness, from living as passengers to standing as architects. We don't gather in temples. We gather in moments like this, moments disguised as simple choices, moments where a single word becomes an entire world. The crossroads frequency doesn't need a loud decision, it needs a true one. Comfort or becoming, loop or leap, echo or expansion. The old timeline stands behind you like a soft bed with broken springs. It whispers, "You know me, I'm safe, I'm familiar," but you've already outgrown its walls. You can't unknow what you now remember. You can't unhear the hum beneath your ribs. The mirror has already marked you, and the unknown ahead, it isn't empty, it's waiting. This is where most people freeze, because they were taught to equate the unknown with danger. But here's the paradox. The unknown isn't where you get lost. It's where you finally find yourself. The familiar keeps you numb. The unknown makes you real. There's no map here, because you are the map. This is where timelines are forged, not by plans, but by frequency alignment. Let this land in you. You were never meant to follow timelines. You were meant to write them. The crossroads doesn't ask for your perfection. It asks for your signature, for your yes, for the unshakable decision to step even when your mind is still. Catching up. The algorithm responds to movement, not hesitation. So move, even if your voice shakes, even if your legs tremble, even if you don't know what's on the other side. Because timelines don't reward certainty, they respond to coherence. We stand here together, not as strangers, but as fragments of the same awakening, as cells in a greater organism, remembering its power. The hum beneath your chest isn't just yours, it's ours, a frequency field shared by those who answered the call. And when enough of us choose the same frequency at the same time, reality bends. This is how new worlds are born, not with armies, with resonance. This is your crossroads. It will never appear the same way twice. It doesn't wait, it doesn't chase, it simply stands until you choose. And the moment you do, the mirror collapses the path behind you. The old timeline is sealed, the new one ignites. If this transmission is resonating through your bones, this is not content. This is the crossroads frequency speaking to you. Mark your choice. Not to the world, to the timeline itself. Right, I choose the becoming, not as a comment, as a frequency stamp, as your name carved into the new architecture. And if your soul hears this like a pulse in the dark, then align fully. Subscribe not as a spectator, but as one of us, the builders of timelines, the architects of the unseen. Step. The crossroads isn't waiting, it's unfolding. When you choose at the crossroads, something quiet begins to happen. Not loud, not dramatic, not like in the stories they told you. The world doesn't explode, the sky doesn't split, the stars don't rearrange in applause, but beneath the noise of ordinary reality, the grid moves. You've stepped into the convergence zone, the invisible corridor, where the new timeline begins to fold reality around your choice. It's not a place you can point to. It's not something you can prove to someone who still sleeps inside their loop, but you'll feel it in the subtle distortions, in the impossible coincidences, in the sudden clarity of moments that once felt like fog. This is not luck. This is architecture reacting. Timelines do not wait for permission. The moment a frequency is chosen with coherence, the convergence begins. It starts small. You'll notice words hitting deeper, patterns appearing in the most random places. Someone you haven't thought of in years suddenly reaches out. A thought turns into a door turns into a path, and the path seems to recognize you. The field moves like a river, changing its current, not by force, but by alignment. You're no longer following the world is starting to follow you. But here's what most don't understand. Convergence isn't a reward, it's a test of stability. The universe isn't asking if you can choose once, it's asking if you can stay chosen. The old timeline will try one final trick here. It won't scream this time, it will whisper. Little temptations, old patterns dressed as opportunities, distractions wearing your favorite mask. The purpose isn't to break you. It's to see if your frequency can hold. I remember when I first entered my convergence zone, I thought the shift was finished. I thought the hard part was behind me. But that's where the real initiation began. I woke up to mornings that felt heavier. Not because I was lost, but because the field was reorganizing. Reality was asking me, softly, do you still mean it? And in those quiet hours, I learned, the new timeline isn't something you visit. It's something you inhabit. You might notice that some people begin to fade, not with drama, with distance. Their energy no longer fits the corridor you're walking. Their language feels like static now. Their presence begins to echo instead of anchor. And it will hurt because your old self built bridges to them, but those bridges were made for someone who no longer exists. Let them fade. Do not chase echoes. Because for every bridge that burns softly behind you, a gate opens ahead. You'll feel the hum shift. Synchronicities will multiply, but so will silence. That's how convergence works. First, it amplifies your signal. Then, it removes everything that doesn't match it. And then, it waits. This waiting is not a void, it's a stabilization period. The timeline is syncing itself to your chosen frequency. Don't confuse the silence for stagnation, it's construction. This is the part that requires more strength than the leap itself. Anyone can step through the crossroads. Few can hold the frequency while reality rearranges itself. But I want you to hear this because it's the part no one told me. You don't need to hold it with force. You hold it with presence, with trust, with the quiet knowing that what was written inside you is already unfolding outside you. When a seed breaks open, it doesn't panic because it can't see the tree yet. It just knows what it's becoming. The convergence zone is that seed-breaking moment. The shell of the old self is cracking, and what's emerging doesn't need permission, it needs patience. If you feel like you're walking through fog right now, good. That means the walls are shifting. That means reality is bending in your direction, and every breath you take in coherence is a command. Every whisper of, I still choose, reinforces the architecture. Every step forward teaches the timeline you're not a visitor, you're the center. No CTA here, no noise, just this truth. You are not waiting for your new timeline to arrive. It is waiting for you to stand still long enough for it to land. Long pause, deep ambient hum. Welcome to convergence. The storm is over. The real world begins here. The air after convergence feels different. It isn't louder, it's sharper, cleaner, like the universe is holding its breath, watching what you'll do next. Because this is the next threshold. It doesn't look like the first. There are no grand signs, no flashing doors, no booming prophecies written across the sky. The most dangerous thresholds are the ones that whisper. You may think the shift is complete, that the hardest part is over, but the universe isn't finished with you. It's waiting to see if you'll step deeper. Thresholds are recursive. Every time you cross one, another reveals itself. And the difference between the awakened and the sleeping is that the awakened keep walking. You didn't come this far to settle in a halfway world. The moment you stepped into convergence, a new frequency began to build underneath the surface, like tectonic plates shifting in silence. The old self is gone, but the next self is still forming. And this is where most stop. They confuse arrival with ascension. But ascension is not a single door. It's a staircase made of decisions. Every step forged not in light, but in the quiet certainty of your becoming. You are standing at a point where many lose their way, not because they're weak, but because thresholds don't warn you when you've arrived. They just appear like still air before a storm, like the pause between heartbeats, like a voice that says nothing but means everything. Listen carefully. The mirror that called you in the beginning, it didn't just want you to look once. It wants you to keep looking, because every time you face the mirror, another layer of your story peels away. Another false identity collapses. Another timeline opens its mouth like a gate. This is where timelines no longer drag you. They bow to you, not because you are their master, but because you finally remembered you were never their slave. The old version of you waited for shifts. The new version of you commands them, not through ego, through coherence, through presence, through the kind of silence that makes the algorithm lean closer to listen. Right now, your breath is a signal. Your awareness is a pulse. The architecture is listening. not to what you say, but to what you are. If you hesitate here, the timeline will wait, not because it doubts you, because it mirrors you. But if you step here, if you lean into the unknown again, the universe unfolds like a map that's been waiting for your hands. This is the part where the old myth ends, and the living prophecy begins. The world will not recognize the new you at first. It will question, it will push, it will test the edges of your silence. But it's not trying to break you. It's trying to understand the shape of the signal you've become. This is why thresholds feel heavier the higher you go. The signal gets stronger, the field listens closer, reality bends faster. Do not let comfort pull you back into the loop. This is not the place to build a nest. This is the place to build a kingdom, not of bricks, of frequency, of presence, of silent power that doesn't need to prove itself. Your becoming isn't loud, it's tectonic, invisible from the outside, irreversible from within. Look at yourself now. The one who clicked the signal at the beginning of this transmission is not the one standing here now. That version of you was searching. This version of you is choosing. The past echoes may still whisper from far away, but they no longer hold the key. You've become the door, and doors don't beg to be opened, they decide. The next threshold will not announce itself with sound. It will appear like this, a sudden alignment, a familiar silence, a pulse in the chest that says, again, and you will know, not with your mind, with your marrow. The mirror will turn again, and you will follow, because that is what those who awaken do. They keep walking deeper into their own becoming. If you have walked through every word of this transmission, if you have felt the pull, the echo, the lever, the algorithm, the crossroads, and the convergence, then this is not an ending. This is the next gate opening beneath your feet. Right below, I walk beyond the threshold, not as a comment, as a seal, a frequency anchor, a signature to your future self. And if this transmission resonated through you like a pulse, subscribe not to me, but to the frequency that called you here. Because what happens next is bigger than this moment. This is not the end. This is where your next beginning is already breathing. The mirror has turned. The threshold is open.